Hey, Mitch, can you hear me okay?
I can.
All right, great. We'll get started with questions. And please raise your hand if you have a question. Start with Matt.
Hey, Mitch, how are you?
Good. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. You know, through the ups and downs of the season, we check in with you guys in the bad times, the good times. What's it like in the building right now, knowing kind of the adversity that you guys have faced this year, some of those down moments, and how you've come together as a group? What's the vibe like in the building right now?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, every season has ebbs and flows. It just seems that this one's ebbs and flows were exacerbated because it either certain wins came at certain times, a certain loss came at a certain time. Every season's long, especially this one with an extra game involved, and there's just such an emotional roller coaster. But the teams that can really learn, I mean, there's a sense of urgency, right? But they can learn from their mistakes, stay even keeled, understand that when it's time to correct those, there has to be, like I said, that urgency. The vibe right now is that we're not going to try. We understand the stakes of this game, but the last thing we want to do is change the whole script. We understand what's been working for us lately. We understand that the template, and just trying to stay even keeled as much as possible, which is hard to do in a very emotional sport. So for us, it's just learning from our mistakes, and also understand what we've been doing well, trying to double down on those, not lose those, and go from there.
Speaking of staying even keeled, how are you doing that this week as you kind of push towards the playoffs? And obviously you got some personal, exciting things to come here.
Yeah. It was, it's yeah, I would say this week for me is a microcosm of the whole season, right? We're inducing Monday morning. So after the Sunday game, I'll be making a trip out to Kansas City to celebrate the birth of, we don't know what, but it's be very exciting. But also understanding that it's real easy in this league to let things off the field, distract you from on the field. And first and foremost, I want to be a great father, but I also want to be a professional and accountable to my guys. So trying to remove church and state here, be ever present in this building, be the best teammate I can be, and then off the field, trying to get ready for an amazing moment in our family's life.
Well, enjoy it, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Matt.
Hey, Mitch, congratulations in advance, by the way. That's very
Thank you very much.
I was curious, something Sean has brought up a lot, and I was curious if you've seen this, is how he feels like Josh as a leader, kind of stuff we don't get to see away from the field. He's kind of stepped up, especially in that way this year. Is there anything you've noticed him doing this year that has stood out, maybe in terms of that leader role?
Great question. I think he has always showed those strong leadership traits off the field. And I think when you gain more confidence in yourself as a professional, which he has, and understand what it takes to kind of go through the year, the ebbs and flows, and understand the position you're at. You're a quarterback in this franchise that's just signed on for a few more years. I wouldn't say there's a huge change. I think he has just taken that elevation that every person does as you progress in the NFL. And he's just a good dude. He gets along with the guys. He's easy to communicate with. He's easy to vibe with, and that makes it a lot easier as well. When he speaks, you listen. Because if there's a dude who's doing one thing and then does another somewhere else, or is just not easy to get along with, then you take everything they say with a grain of salt. But that couldn't be more opposite with Josh. He's just a great dude, and I think, like I've said before, great people correlate to usually great leaders and great football players.
And then on a related note, I was curious, do you have a handshake with Josh, and what is it if you do?
I do. That's not appropriate for Zoom. Okay. But we do. And it's yeah, we're done. We do.
Did you have to tell me what it is or anything like that, obviously, but did he come up with it? Did you come up with it, or is it a combined effort?
It might have been a collaboration.
Okay. And then one other question for you, I was curious about having a younger guy like Spencer on the line and obviously need to play a key role with the playoffs upcoming, do you say anything to, we've had to talk to a lot of people about, do you say something to younger guys? Do you not? How do you approach that kind of thing?
Well, it's an amazing experience, your first playoff experience. It's also easy to get lost in the fact that you feel like you have to do so much more because the stakes are higher. Whereas the stakes are always high in this league, you stick to the template that works. Understand that there's not as much room for error, but that doesn't mean you need to change anything. So for us, it's just staying even keeled, and the cliches are around for a reason. Trusting the process, and I think he's done such a great job. And rookie years are very hard on players, and I thought he's risen to the occasion through the ebbs and flows of his personal year as well as team. So no, we won't make anything too big of a deal. If anything, we would say just do your thing, pal. We got your back. And when everything else around you seems like it's tire strung, there's no need for you to be.
Awesome. Thanks, Mitch.
You're welcome.
Hey, Mitch, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. One thing Sean has brought up a couple of times the last few weeks, without even really being asked, is the challenge of backing up a season like you guys had last year with a similar season. So I'm just wondering what you've noticed about that challenge, if that's something that he's brought up with you guys, and how you think your team has responded to that.
No, he hasn't brought it up with us. When you have success, there's pressure to repeat it, and you also set a standard. So for us, that standard's never changed regardless of wins and losses this year. There's only one winner in this league, right? It was a special year last year. Every team is different. Every team's identity is different. Every team's trials and tribulations are different. But we do know what we are capable of. We've done it before, but that doesn't mean anything to help you the next year. If anything, there's a target on your back. So, for us, like I said before, we understand the stakes of every game from now on. I think we can say it for the last 5 weeks, and just going one play at a time, one day at a time. And when you stack those together, good things usually work out.
You talked earlier about the ebbs and flows, and right now you guys are kind of on a you're riding a high 3-game winning streak. You've got a chance to clinch the division. How did you see this team react in its lowest moments? And there's been a lot of things that have happened, maybe some not even necessarily dealing with football, that could be causes for internal strife in those lowest moments. You're in that locker room, you're a leader. What was the reaction amongst the team?
Yeah, like I said before, this game is an emotional one. It's just the nature of the beast. It's not only a profession, but the game in itself is emotional. So, like you said before, we've had some things off the field. Nothing that really divided this team. It's what makes this team so great, is that we all respect differences in religion or beliefs in certain things. We understood just the circumstance around us. I think COVID threw a proverbial wrench in a few things in regards to guys playing and stuff. But, when you can just, when the leaders of this team and the captains of this team and the coaches put us in positions to really just focus on the day to day, not make a big deal of changes personnel wise or schematic wise, just going from that. I think that just shows the utmost professionalism out of those men and women. And we're just going to try to stack those together, because I promise you we'll have more coming up. So it'll be an amazing thing. That's what makes football so amazing. And that's why I think these years, it's like dog years, to take years off your life. Just stress-wise, not even the physicality part of it.
Yeah. And then just one more for me. I'm sorry to my colleagues for monopolizing your time here, but I asked Brian on Monday about the challenge for you personally, given that there's been so much change around you. You were communicating line calls to many different versions of the offensive line week in and week out. And he was very complimentary of the job that you've done in terms of doing that, and the leadership that has shown For you personally, I know the line is always about a group, but do you feel like your play and including in that your leadership has taken a step forward? How personally satisfying, with I know a lot of goals still ahead of you, but how personally satisfying so far has this season been for you in terms of getting guys on the same page, your availability week in, week out, all of those things?
Well, I think it was very gracious and generous, those compliments. He didn't have to do that. And for me as a center, I feel like the best thing I could do is take burdens off guys' shoulders when I can. Changing a position or even switching from one side to another is not an easy feat, even if it's in the same position. I feel like the one constant was inconsistency, not in play at all, but in lineup and who was where, whether it be for injury or COVID or other circumstances. So I think it's a real testament to the guys in our room, first and foremost, and secondly, the coaches. And then for me, just communicating with the coaches what they want. They put us in great positions to have our rules, and then keeping no secrets. Everyone being on the same page. Practicing communication, as weird as that is, with different guys, and guys have taken an onus on helping each other out, and it's been great. So hopefully, just trying to keep those steps. I wish I could answer the rest of your question. I feel like I'd be more apt to do that at the very end, whenever that is, because we still have so much ahead of us, and maybe the most important part of the season coming up. So you don't like to say that, but it's been very nice. I've been feeling a lot more comfortable with the guys and my position, but this game can be crazy. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, understood. Thanks, Mitch. You've been gracious with your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Mitch, congrats to you and Caitlin. I wanted to ask about that, actually. You mentioned how it's so hard to balance, being a good football player, being a father. What does this team do to kind of help support you behind the scenes when you're trying to do both of those at once?
Yeah, that's Coach McDermott from the get-go when I got here made sure to let all of us know that family comes first. As much as this is our profession and how much pride we put into it, it's secondary to our family. And, that's great for us. And, crises come up in everyone's life, family included. I've only seen the utmost respect given to people, players, by Coach McDermott and the staff and management. And, and I think just transparency is a big thing, not keeping secrets and being vulnerable. Because when you're able to do that, as uncomfortable as it is, you're more trustworthy. You can be trusted more, and it's just there's no secrets, and that helps a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Mitch, Mark Gahn here. Thanks for your patience as always. You had a couple interesting plays against Atlanta where you swung way out and picked up the secondary, the fourth man joining the rush, the defensive back blitzer. Is that, without giving up too much, how challenging is that? I mean, is your head on a swivel, or is that a case of good communication? And is that kind of fun to get way the heck out there?
Oh, well, it's a double-edged sword. It comes down to communication, like you said, rules. The coaches and staff are very precise in their rules. They leave no gray areas, and they put us in positions, as tedious as it can be, to practice those rules. Each protection is different, and those rules and what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do just happen to be that those certain looks for those certain protections called me to work out there, maybe work outside the tackles at times. It's not the most fun, because you're now almost in the position of, as a tackle, to set the width of the pocket when you're so used to setting the depth. And those guys are much better athletes than you out there. So it's just being patient. And the guys are helping me out. I mean, I can only see so far out there. So my tackles and guards have been very helpful in regards to communicating. So to answer your question, it comes out of communication and rules.
Are you happy that you've been able to obviously you guys have a lot of variety in the offense and the run game, but the gap scheme runs have been sprinkled in the game plan these last, and it's been working well the last 4 or 5 weeks. So you like getting to show off your mobility and the gap scheme runs?
Yeah, I mean, your body is a depreciating asset. You can, you only have so much time in this league, and you only have so much time to run. So it's something I've been very fortunate enough to be put in a position to do something that I enjoy. We work hard at it. But at the same time, like you said, every week can be different. So, yeah, I always enjoy being out there helping my guys spring runs anyway. But, in 2019, we really hung our hat on that. And whether it's personnel or scheme or just what's working, things can shape up differently. So for us, it's just doing what's called, and it's been very fun. Yeah, I enjoy those quite a bit.
And then Josh, those quarterback powers, again, it all depends on the game plan. Tampa Bay, it was a big part of the game plan. Just kind of what is it like getting out there in front for Josh? And do you kind of feel that big train pounding behind you, coming at you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes you feel a gentle push on your back saying, you got to pick it up, pal, because I'm trucking behind you. So, Josh is such a dynamic athlete, and a lot of this offense revolves around what he does. You're prideful in not letting anyone get hit, but you really don't want your quarterback to take any unnecessary hits. So you really try to do your best out there to protect him. But sometimes we wish he slid a little more, but that's just not who he is. So
Yeah.
It's fun. To answer your question, it's fun. Whenever you get your best football player out there making plays.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you. That's
you.
not me. That's Josh. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, have fun Sunday and Monday.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
That's all for today. Thanks, Mitch.